Hello, this is Sara with Posh Pooch Designs, and today's video I'm going to show you how to crochet this little dog bone. It measures about 3 inches across, and it's the perfect little applique to put on anything for people who just love dogs. It's made out of cotton, and it just takes a tiny bit of cotton yarn, and we're going to be stitching today with our H hook. Now, if you want your dog bone to be smaller, you can use a smaller weight yarn and a smaller hook. If you want it to be bigger, use a bigger or thicker weight yarn and a bigger hook. So you could make it just about any size that you wanted to. But like I said, this one that we're going to make today measures about 3 inches across, and it's super great to put on anything. Hats, scarves, bags, dog bandanas. This is a free crochet pattern on my blog, and I'll put that blog link down in the notes under the video if you need to see the written pattern. So grab you some leftover cottons you have on hand and your H hook, and we'll get started. So the first thing that we need to do is make our slip knot, and then we're going to chain 10. Now this is the center portion of the dog bone as far as the length. If you want to make your dog bone longer, this is where you would add chains. If you want it for a bigger project, you could add more chains here to make it longer. So what we're going to do next is we're going to place a single crochet in the second chain from the hook. And this technique is the same if you made the center portion of your bone longer. So here is our first chain, and here's our second chain. We're going to go in the second chain and pull up a loop, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through both loops. That's a single crochet. And we're going to single crochet all the way across our chain, placing 1 single crochet in each chain. There we go. This can be made with worsted weight yarn as well. I just prefer the cotton, but if I'm doing a dog sweater or hat and I want to use the worsted weight, you certainly can. Just remember, worsted weight has a little more stretch than cotton. All right, so we single crocheted in each of our chains across. And now we're at the first end that we're going to work the little dog bone bumps. And the way we do that is we chain 2, 1, 2, and then we're going to place 2 double crochets in the side of this end stitch. So we're going to go right in there and chain 2 double crochets. 1, go right in that same spot, 2. Then we're going to chain 2. We go right in that same spot, and that's our first dog bone made, our first dog bone bump. So we chain 2, we stitch 2 double crochets and chain 2 in that same spot. And now we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and we're going to go right in that same spot and stitch 2 double crochets. Because now we're making our second dog bone bump. 1, 2, then we're going to chain 2, and we're going to go right in that same spot with a slip stitch. And this is how it should look. Make sure my loop doesn't come out. We've got chain 2, 2 double crochets, chain 2, slip stitch, chain 2, 2 double crochets, chain 2, slip stitch. All right, so now we're going to be stitching on the opposite side of the chain, working this way. So this is what your dog bone should look at this point. We stitched down, we did our 2 dog bone bumps, and then we stitched back down the opposite side of the chain. And now we have to make these 2 bumps. So we're going to chain 2, 1, 2. We're going to place 2 double crochets right in that stitch at the top. 1, 2 double crochets, chain 2, slip stitch, 2 double crochets, 2 chains, and then 2 double crochets. 1, 2, 2 chains, slip stitch right in that same spot, and then we're just going to slip stitch in the first double crochet on the side, just like that, and we're going to tie off. But before we do, I want you to remember that you need to leave yourself a long piece of yarn if you're going to use it for sewing it on to whatever that you're going to sew it onto. So you don't have that extra thing to tie off. So we're just going to tie that off, and then I like to take my hook behind like this and pull that string to the back of my dog bone. And that's how easy it is to make a dog bone. And just to recap, chain 10, single crochet in the second chain from the hook, and then single crochet down. Then in the side of the top of the first or the last single crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochets, chain 2, slip stitch, chain 2, 2 double crochets, chain 2, slip stitch. Then we turn and work down the opposite side of our chain, 1 single crochet in each single crochet, and then we turn. And then we're going to be stitching those last 2 bumps in the stitch or the space between those 2 rows. And we do the same thing, chain 2, 2 double crochets, chain 2, slip stitch, chain 2, 2 double crochets, chain 2, slip stitch, and then chain slip stitch in the next stitch and tie off, leaving yourself a long piece of yarn so that you can sew your applique on whatever you want to. This is our 3-inch dog bone applique crochet pattern.